All right, here. I think I've got it. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I am setting up some final things. Thank you all for joining me. I'm just dropping something here in the chat. As you know, I said I'm going to be discussing the article Jesse Jackson, his caregivers, and how they mentioned we're talking about the struggle. So I'll be going through that today. Let me set this up here as well. Trying something new out. I'm going live and on 2 platforms at the same time. Ooh. All right, so I am here. I'm live on Facebook and live on YouTube. So there is my link. And let's see. Hold on. I need to put this link here. All right. Y'all pardon me for doing this right now. This is my first time doing something like this. Oh wait, hold on. This is the link. There we go. Caregiver. Ooh, what happened? What just happened? Caregiver Masterclass. We're going to be discussing today the article that I read about Jesse Jackson's family discussing their caregiving experience for him. So here we go. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. You are live with Danita Lynn on a Saturday. It is a sunny Saturday. We haven't had any sun in a while, so I'm happy to see the sun. And I'm going to discuss something. This is an article I read in the Grio. And I don't know if you're familiar with that news outlet, but it's pretty reliable and they keep us up to date on what's going on. So, as the caregiver's caregiver, as I like to call myself, I wanted to talk about this because this article is titled Reverend Jesse Jackson's Death is a Call to Action for America's Forgotten Caregivers. And the article is by she's a medical doctor, not PhD, but an MD, Dr. Valencia P. Walker. So before I get into this, I just want to share with you all that I wanted to talk about this because, of course, we just we saw the celebration of life services yesterday broadcasted for Reverend Jesse Jackson and all of his work that he has done throughout this, not just this nation, but this world. He's made an impact, and the people who were caring for him, even with his great legacy, one would think that they had so many things in place set up to be able to take care of him, but caregiving for him was a struggle according to this article. So I wanted to talk about it, and I'm talking about it because, as you know, I've been sharing with you my caregiving journey that ended last April with my mom's passing, but it began when COVID started in 2020 because I immediately went into I have to take care of my whole family because I didn't want my parents out there not knowing what was going to happen, if they were going to catch it. I was just trying to keep them safe. So in that process, I became the caregiver for both my own household, where my son was 10 at the time, and I was taking care of him as well as making sure that they had everything they need. So I would leave him with them and then go shopping and all the kind of stuff. And then the next year, 2021, my dad became, he didn't become ill, but he had a fall at the house. And it led to him being hospitalized. And subsequently, he went to different facilities who were supposed to care for him. And I'm not going to get into that, but I ended up having to go and make sure that he had what he needed in those places, as well as taking care of my mother, who was now at home by herself for the first time in about 65 years, because her and my dad had been together for that long in that at that time frame. So with that knowledge, and then taking care of her when I brought her home to live with me after my dad passed later in 2021 in October, I brought her home to live with me, and that became a full-time caregiving journey. So I'm speaking from a place of not only interest in this article, but interest because it's a passion of mine now. And I want to help as many people as I can to understand the caregiving journey and to understand the importance of all, many facets, but mostly the facet of caring for yourself as well. All right, so let's get started. Again, the article, Reverend Jesse Jackson's death is a call to action for America's forgotten caregivers. Now, that automatically tells you that we need to do something, because if they feel forgotten and their dad was Jesse Jackson, or husband, because even his wife, was very uh, involved in his care. So I'm just going to read a few things from it. This is from the second paragraph, and it talks about his disease, the disease he was diagnosed with, and that he was actually diagnosed improperly. And they found out it was a different disease that eventually led to him not being able to walk, talk, or sometimes swallow. So, this sentence, as his disease progressed, his family soon experienced the profound exhaustion of providing constant care. His son, Jesse Jackson Jr., transparently characterized caregiving as brutal, formative, and eye opening. And if you're joining while this is going on, thank you so much for joining. I am talking about this article as well as sharing that I have a caregiver masterclass coming up this Tuesday, March 10th, and it's going to be online, and it's at 7 o'clock p.m. And the link is in the notes, in the caption, actually. So, brutal, formative, and eye opening. He described how one of his sisters put her teaching career on hold to take on full time care for their father. And we're talking about Jesse Jackson. His mother, sister, and brother had all learned to provide nursing care. These are the siblings. And his wife, Jesse Jackson's wife, is the mom who is who's being discussed in this article, because this part is written from the perspective of Jesse Jackson Jr., the son. Then he says they still needed family and friends to make medical appointments and to help with feeding tubes and kidney dialysis. So I just want to stop right there, because neither of the healthcare situations that I was involved in with my parents were that dire, but it was just me. I'm a single mom, I'm an only child, and having to do the things that I had to do for both of my parents and still take care of my child who was 10 was it was critical for me to ask for help. And as you see, I've been encouraging you all to stop trying to play superhero. Stop trying to think that you have to do it all, because it's not possible. It really isn't. And Jesse Jackson's family themselves, not just hiring people, but they went and got family and friends to help them get the job done, because it truly takes a village. Like, that's not a saying for no reason. And I can remember times when just to pivot to my own life, my situation, when my dad was in a few of the facilities, I had to travel. And I didn't want to travel because I didn't want the people to think that nobody was coming for him for a couple of days so they could do what they wanted to do and not care for him properly. That was not That was not happening. So caregiving for my dad became me asking friends because family, I don't didn't really have family. And the family that I had, actually, they're caregivers themselves. Um, so we were all trying to figure out how to make it happen, how to help each other. But we did that. And so I went to my friends and like my dad's pastor and my cousin and a few other people. When I left town, I said, listen, I have, hey, Carla, you're here for the shirt. Yes, of course. But I'm glad you're joining. As you continue to join, please share this article. Please share this live, because that moment with my when I had to leave town to go be with my dad, I mean go out of town and leave someone, I had set up people strategically to visit him on the days I was gone. Okay, I need you all, um and I will drop the link to the article. Actually, the link to the article I think is already posted on the page, but if it's not, I'll make sure I drop it in the um I'll drop that in the comment section, Sharice, okay? But when I was leaving town, um I had my pastor, my mom, my dad's pastor, my mom and dad's pastor. I had a cousin, and I had a few other people scheduled each day I was going to be gone. Look, I need you to go over there, go to the hospital on this date. Look, and I need you to go at a different time on the next date, because I never wanted them to catch a pattern. I wanted them to be surprised every time I showed up. I was never coming at the same time every day, because I felt like if they knew what time I was coming, they knew what time to act like they were doing right. Okay. So this is what we do. Um, this is a part of the caregiving journey. So continuing in the article, going back to what they were saying, this is the actual writer of the article. And I said she's a medical doctor, and she is also grieving the loss of her own father recently. So she's talking about how Jesse Jackson's death should make us stop and realize that we need better infrastructure and support for caregiving. Too many of us are struggling to honor our elders with dignity as they reach the final pages in the last chapter of their lives. And it's interesting because she goes on to say that we need greater access to training programs about caregiving and educational information for chronic illnesses such as like dementia. That's a key. There are so many people who are dealing with aging parents who also have dementia. And dementia changes everything, especially your parent, and sometimes the relationship between you and your parent, because you're left trying to figure out, who is this person, and why don't I remember them being like this, and where who are you, and what did you do with my mom, what did you do with my dad? Like, it's heartbreaking, especially if you try to hold on to everything that you remember without honoring where they are now. So to go into the article a little bit more, it says they want to work on improving access to mental health services that could help caregivers better protect their own well-being. And that's what this is about. Okay, I am so big on you protecting your own well-being, because in the caregiving journey, two different experiences. My dad was very good at telling me to go take care of myself. He wanted me to be happy, but he knew I was not going to let up when it came to showing up to be there to make sure that they were doing right by him, making sure that they were turning him in the bed because he was immobile, he couldn't move for himself, making sure that they were giving him the food that he requested, not the stuff he didn't like, not the stuff that they just felt like giving because he was asleep when they came in and they made their own menu up. None of that stuff. I wasn't going for any of that. And that's what caregiving is. Like, it puts so many hats on you. You have to be daughter or son still. You have to be expert. You become an expert in the medical field, because now you're studying all of these things that are your parent is dealing with. You become someone who is a skilled nurse or tech. You learn how to give medication. You learn how to uh, look out for changes in their body and in their behavior. You learn all kinds of things. And that is what this doctor is talking about. She's the article author. She's saying, she was baby girl. She was the doctor who was baby girl to her dad. And she knows that Jesse Jackson encouraged her to keep hope alive. But when she was caregiving, she remembers the different struggles that she went through. Um, and now she's starting to share those struggles. She's saying, like the Jackson family, I know of the burdens that care I know that the burdens of caregiving are crushing and unrelenting. There is no paid time off. There usually isn't even paid time on. My mother, a retired nurse, faithfully and lovingly attended to my dad practically 24 hours a day. I'm gonna stop right there. Because in my story, listen, my mom, she did as much as she could, but my dad was in, I think he was 86 when he went into the hospital. He turned 87 during that time period. And then, so that makes my mom 85. She had just turned 85 that February, right before COVID. So she was 86 when he went to the hospital. And sis was like, listen, it's hard and I'm tired and somebody kind of got to come help. So of course I was already helping, but I had no idea what she was going through. And I had no idea how tired it was, all the things she was having to do, making sure things were clean and sanitary. And because of her age, she was exhausted and probably doing way more than she should have, like trying to strain and maybe turn him or pick stuff up and bending and all that kind of stuff she was doing. So when my dad went into the hospital, and then afterwards, when he went to the care facility, I would FaceTime call him or her from my visit to him. And he would see her, hey, babe, how you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm good. I am enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself. I'm at home. I had breakfast in bed and I didn't wake up until I felt like it. And she was going on. Let me tell y'all, I was looking at her like, are you crazy right now? Like, why are you telling him all of this stuff? He's trying to come home and you tell him what a good time you're having while he's gone. But whatever, that was who she is. That was Dottie, okay? And he was like, oh, good, babe. I'm glad you're getting some rest. Ironically, that was why he went to the hospital. They said when he fell, he didn't even hurt himself, but he went to the hospital because he said, I'm gonna go to the hospital and give your mama a break. That's what he said to me. He whispered to me on his way out the door on the stretcher. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? But Dottie was like, I am taking care of me. And that's where people miss it. Now, should she have been as off the chain as she was about bragging? She was taking care of herself. Not so sure. But the point is, she knew that was important because she knew that her recuperation was critical, especially because when he did come home, she was going to be back on full-time duty. Okay? So, let me pick back up. So in the article, the author talks about how her family, friends, loved ones, and church members never failed to step up and help. When he became seriously ill, I used thousands of dollars I had been saving for a down payment on a home to afford the specialized healthcare he needed. Healthcare not available in my relatively small town. This also meant my mother had to travel hours to visit my dad in the hospital, and it left us a healthcare bill that his military benefits, health insurance, and Medicare combined were not enough to pay. America, what are we doing? Why is it so expensive? Why do people who have good jobs have to try to struggle or have to struggle to figure out how to take care of somebody that they love? Like, what is going on? I remember when my dad went into the hospital, I was a self-employed sign language interpreter at the time. And I had already stopped working pretty much when COVID hit because I wasn't I wasn't really feeling the virtual interpreting space. So I was home making sure I had everything I needed taking care of my mom, my dad, and my son, not in that order. But my point is that level of care, I couldn't work anywhere else. So for those people who I know who were out there and you all were working and doing this, I don't know how, but the good thing is if you're able to keep working, you were able to maintain an income. Because I stopped working because I'm an entrepreneur, I wasn't seeing income. I did manage to finally get unemployment during that time while I was caring for my parents, and a couple of loans that helped me for a while. But I didn't qualify for any of the assistance that the state gives to caregivers. Like I couldn't get paid for it. So it was hard. But listen, it didn't have to be that hard because I had at that point stopped caring about what was happening to me and my own well-being, but just making sure that even if I had to run myself in the ground, I was taking care of my dad and my mom. It If it wasn't for my dad saying, "Hey, don't come here tomorrow. You need to go stay home. I'm good. Take care of you." If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have had that same mentality. So I'm sharing it with you because as a care recipient, he made it clear that I needed to do that for myself. And it saved my life, honestly. I don't know if I would have physically perished, but mentally, I would have checked out of here because it was a lot. So, saying that to say that I want to just continue to encourage you all as you all are on your caregiving journeys. And some of you don't even know, but your caregiving journey might be creeping up on you. I said that in a post recently because you're starting to change how you deal with your mom and your dad. You're starting to check on them and make sure that they're good instead of them calling you to see how you're doing. It's the other way around. And that's a sign that, it might be on its way. Not saying you're going to have to go into full blown caregiving. And I'm not even trying to wish anything bad on you. I just want you to be prepared. That's why I'll pause for the cause and say again in the notes as well as in the caption, I will have the link to sign up for the caregiver masterclass that I'm giving this Tuesday online from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Tuesday, March 10th, because I learned so much and I felt like I was like, how come nobody ever told me this? And I wouldn't find things out until I was at like a point of breaking, and I would be talking to someone who had been a caregiver and they were like, "Oh yeah, girl, you're gonna have to do this and you're gonna have to get used to like doing the uncomfortable things, changing your parent, like stuff that you just never even think of is mentally exhausting." And Reverend Reverend Jackson's family was doing all of that stuff, and still, I'm not saying that they had a financial burden, but they're definitely saying, from the son's opinion here, that it opened his eyes in a way that he never thought. And for that reason, they're like going to start fighting for this something called the Credit for Caring Act. Um, I, it's supposed to be a tax credit for $5,000 annually for caregivers. Now, anybody who knows anything about caregiving knows that $5,000 you can blow through in a heartbeat. My mom's hearing aids alone were over $1,000. And so imagine all of the other things. But the point is, you have to be able to recognize what the signs are. Getting back to that, recognize what the signs are. And I'm trying to help you get ahead of it because Maybe it's the overthinker part of me, but getting ahead of things helped me to deal with them a lot better on the emotional and mental side. I did things like I went to my mom's house way before she passed away and like, look, we gotta give her some of the stuff. I used to tease with her and my dad when he was still alive as well, and say, look, y'all know y'all got too much stuff in this house. And I promise you, when you're gone, I'm throwing the whole house away. It's like I can't take it. I'm not gonna go through anything. I'm throwing it all away. Okay, so that wasn't totally true. I have been going through things, but the point is, a lot of that stuff is gone. It's going away. But I went through the house beforehand because I said, the first time I go through this house will not be after y'all gone. I'm in here in a puddle on the floor crying, trying to figure out how to get rid of it all because it's so important to me. Mm-mm. No. So look, if you got parents like mine were and they got a whole bunch of stuff, listen, do yourself a favor and start encouraging them to go through some stuff now. And if they won't do it, I don't know. If you might have to figure out something tricky. I hate to say it, but if they won't comply, look, it's going to be hard. Like, let them know, like, would you want me to be crying and going through your stuff when you go? Like, I don't know. And then some parents don't even like to talk about it because I know a lot of people have told me, look, my mom and dad, or my mom, she did not want to talk about death. So as a result, when she did pass away, that person who said that was struggling because they didn't know where anything was. They didn't know what was important, what wasn't. So you have to go through everything very carefully. And that makes things even harder than it already is when you're already grieving the loss of a parent. So, not go back and forth from caregiving to grieving, but the point is that's the path. Like there's no way, you know, that you're going to end up having to avoid it. Like we all have to go that path. Nobody's going to be here forever. So the better you can do to, yeah, I see some of you in the comments saying you got parents who are hoarders. Listen, cut it out. If you're a hoarder and you're listening and you got kids, help me help them. Get that stuff out of there. Throw it away. You don't need it. Okay. Nobody gets out alive. Yes, I see you on here. We have orders. Thanks for joining, Bridget. I appreciate it. But yes, we don't get out of here alive. So you have to make a decision to make it easier on the people who are still alive after you're not. Help them. I mean, come on, people. So there's another part. I think I got my article out of order. Oh, no, here. I want to share this part. All right, so this is the last part of this article where the doctor is saying, this is not Jesse Jackson's son talking now. This is the doctor. She's saying, for many Black families that are already managing complex and precarious situations, and y'all know, in this situation we got going on here in this country, in this world, yes, already difficult situations. Caregiving disproportionately upends their lives, their careers, and their own health, especially for Black women like my mother. And yeah, Black women like my mother, and my mother too. Like I said, she was struggling and she got to the point where she was like, look, I can't do it anymore. And she checked out on me. And it's not, I would say low key, but it's not low key. I told people I was mad with her because I was like, how you gonna not take care of your husband? But it wasn't that she wasn't taking care of him, it's that she was taking care of herself. Because she probably felt, look, I'm about to be out of here too. In fact, I heard a statistic on a call I was on. I was on a caregiver call a couple of weeks ago, and this lady said 70 something, I think she said 72% of Black women over the age of 70 who are caring for a parent or a spouse end up dying before the care recipient. 72%. Now, if I'm wrong about that percentage, I can fix that. But the point is, that is high. Imagine yourself thinking you're taking care of somebody and then you don't take care of you. So you end up checking out of here before they do. Yeah, that's not cool at all. And because, yeah, exactly. The stress. Somebody's in the comments saying, yeah, the stress. The stress is unreal if you don't figure out how to include yourself in the care plan. So, again, shameless plug. That's why I'm talking to you today. This does not have to be detrimental to your life. Caregiving does not have to take you out of here. You have to figure out how to add yourself to the care plan. Please click the link, register for my Caregivers Masterclass this Tuesday. It's online. It is 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And that class, I'm going to share as much as I can with you in an hour and a half to help you get on track to making sure that you are involved in your own plan of care for your parent. Because if you're caring for your parent, and parents automatically do this thing, like we can't turn it off, no matter how, doesn't matter how old the child gets, we're still thinking about how we can care for our child. Just like my son, he turned 15 yesterday. He's old, and I still call him my baby. And guess what? My dad, my mom still called me their baby. So they were still trying to take care of me. So here they are trying to take care of me as much as they could by by thinking that they were helping me. And I'm like, no, don't help me, because you're trying to help me, but you're making it harder. You're making it stressful because your effort to help me is actually putting you in a situation where you're doing things that you no longer need to be doing. And that's stressing me out. So, what do we do about that? We figure out how everybody gets included in the plan so that nobody feels left out, so that your parents know that you're well cared for while you're caring for them. And it gives them a little bit more relief. And it definitely is going to give you the relief. All right. So, one last thing I want to share this article. It says, talking about Jesse Jackson, his death proves that the challenges of caregiving cut across socioeconomic status, racial identity, and political ideology to affect almost every family, including mine. As a nation, there should be and can be better ways to care. So, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to wait for the nation to figure it out? If we wait for the nation to figure it out, we might not ever get what we need. We're going to have to figure it out for ourselves while they're figuring it out. We're going to have to help them figure it out. But at the same time, we are going to have to make sure that we are doing what we can to not be another person who needs the care. Yeah. It's just that simple. Because if you are caregiving for someone and you end up needing the care, now the family has two people to care about. True story. I'm gonna share this last thing. Um, my cousin, sweetheart, love her dearly. She was my dad's cousin, and but we were close as well. And when my dad became ill, she had told me, "Hey, I'm gonna come and help you out, give you some time to take, some a breather." God bless her. If you know somebody who's a caregiver, maybe you can offer instead of waiting for them to ask. But the point is, she did that for me, and she was getting ready to come, and guess what happened? She wasn't well. And I don't know if she knew it or not, but she ended up having a stroke. And then her family had to care for her. So the family who was going to help me ended up needing to help their own mom. And then she ended up passing the day after my dad. Like, what? So here we are in a situation where, like I said, the caregiver was going to be in a situation where she needed the care. And she didn't start, caring for my dad. So I'm not saying that the stress of caring for him wore her out, but it could very well be that way. And that's what I am hoping does not happen for more of us. I hope that you figure out a way to care for yourself. And a good way to figure that out is to sign up for my Caregiver Masterclass this Tuesday, March 10th. The link is in the notes. It is 7:30. 7, I keep saying 7:30. It is from 7 to 8:30 p.m. online, and I will email the link to those registrants who are registered by Monday at noon. I will have that link emailed to you that evening so that you'll have it in place for Tuesday's class. Okay, so time is running out, and I'm not saying time is running out like on life. Time is running out to register for the course. Time is running out for you to get all the knowledge you can, because if you have aging parents or you know someone who has aging parents and you haven't shared this information with them, you're doing them a disservice, because the things that I know for sure that help me, I know will be helpful to you as well. So that's all I got. Thank you for joining me. If you caught this on the replay, feel free to share that as well. Um, I look forward to seeing each of you who join the class Tuesday evening. And that's all I'll say. So, for a takeaway, I'll say this: if you are caring for your mom or dad, and if they are praying people like my parents were, I bet you they're praying for you to find me, because I'm going to help you take care of yourself. And because they can't do it anymore, I know they want me to help you take care of yourself. All right. So I love you so much. I will see you all soon. Thank you for joining. And pardon me while I look real clueless, trying to figure out how to end this live. All right. All right. I'll see y'all soon. Have a great Saturday. Peace.